This force is also your number one adversary to self-mastery and ultimate inner freedom. But by learning about it, you will have the ultimate advantage, as you won't be unconsciously controlled by this force. So what is this force that we're talking about today? Well, this is the force of resistance that lives inside of all of us. And if you are committed to mastering yourself, therefore master your life, and also enjoying the highest levels of personal freedom, which is personally my commitment, this is a must-watch episode. This is your invitation to become the alchemist of your life. You decode your heaven on earth and go through the alchemical process. The alchemist is a master of himself so that he can master life. People thought alchemists were turning lead into gold, but they're really crystallizing their soul into form. Alchemize your golden potential. Welcome to the Golden Life. Welcome to the Golden Life. My name is David Gilbert, and I am your alchemical guide to help you transform your inner and outer world for the better. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the number one ally for someone who's committed to crystallizing their potential. But this force is also your number one adversary to self-mastery and ultimate inner freedom. But by learning about it, you will have the ultimate advantage, as you won't be unconsciously controlled by this force. So what is this force that we're talking about today? Well, this is the force of resistance that lives inside of all of us. And if you are committed to mastering yourself, therefore master your life, and also enjoying the highest levels of personal freedom, which is personally my commitment, this is a must-watch episode. So let's jump right in. Because just like you, resistance is a force I battled with all my life. We all have these internal and external resistance, where the dragon can be a symbol for internal resistance, and the bear can be a symbol for external resistance. So I'm curious, as you're listening to this, which one have you faced more of in your life? I know for myself, the majority of my life has been battling dragons. So I've really gotten to know this force really well. And lately, I've really started to study it, to get to know it, and to share the master keys to breaking through. Because all about ultimate personal freedom and the path to getting there. Sounds exciting? All right, well, let's jump right in. Introducing the 3 levels of resistance. And first helps to know resistance is a necessary force to fulfill your potential. It wasn't by mistake that I said it's your number one ally, but it will feel like your number one adversary if it has unconscious control over you. So, number 1, surface level resistance. This is the daily resistance we all face all day, every day. And this is the fear of pain or the pain of fear. And this resistance is really about keeping you in your comfort zone, right? All of the greatest treasures lie outside of your comfort zone. So it's kind of ironic that this force wants to keep you stagnant. Because as I shared in a previous episode, the only constant about life is that it's always in constant. It's always in constant motion, constant evolution. So this force attempts to keep us from growing if we don't learn how to face it. So you must master this to create a beautiful life. Because it's by pushing past your comfort zone, you can have anything you want out of life. And Phil Stutz has an awesome technique to break through. And because this is a force we battle every day, I'm going to share his technique at the end of the episode. So stay tuned. But getting into level 2 resistance. This is the deeper seated patterns. This is to really highlight you are a being of beliefs. And your beliefs determine your behavior. And your behaviors determine your life. So if you want to master resistance, you have to understand the default programming that you were installed with. And if the universe is mental, then understanding your mind is the most critical thing you can do. So let's jump into how has your mind evolved? Well, first of all, it's a biological tool to help you perceive reality, right? Its main goal is to help you survive as a biological being. And it also, because its main goal is to help you survive, it's also going to help you look to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Now, you could take a slightly different spin on this too. It's also wired to focus on two things: your fears and your goals. But why do we have these patterns, aka belief systems? Well, the brain is the highest energy consumer of your body. Therefore, it creates these habitual ways of being, right? These belief systems to effectively manage energy. So now that we uncovered that, you might be wondering, well, how do we get belief systems? Well, they're formed through past experiences, societal conditioning, and just personal interpretations. So this is to really highlight how your brain was built, right? Simply said, your brain is wired for survival, conditioned by society, and always scanning through the lens of uncertainty for threats, right? Because it's here to help you survive. So this is why we go through life and we're always looking for the negative things. And this carries more weight in our brain because we're more focused on our fears than our goals. And you could also see why this is why we have so many negative thoughts and fear-based limiting beliefs, because it's simply a byproduct of the default programming of our brain. But not only that, we all have core wounds, especially because we live in a society, which is just a collection of belief systems that are built on the idea of disconnection, separation, and lack. So our limiting beliefs are, first of all, a byproduct of this, right? It's also how we're wired. And then on top of that, if that's not enough, we grow up in this society that reinforces the idea we're disconnected from source. We're disconnected from life itself. And that we are separate from nature. And that we're separate from our fellow human beings, brothers and sisters. And that we're not dependent on them. But the truth is, we're really dependent on the planet. We're dependent on every other, we're dependent on other people, and we're dependent on so much in the universe itself. But if that's not enough, we're also sold on this idea of scarcity, right? But in reality, if we just look back at human history, we could see we have exponentially grown in the last couple hundred of years. And not only that, we have doubled our population from 4 billion to 8 billion humans on this planet since our parents' generation. Yet we still like to deny the fact we live on an abundant planet. So how do we overcome these deeper-seated patterns? Well, it's really by not letting them unconsciously control you. This means by bringing your subconscious patterns to your conscious awareness, you get to work through them. You get to see them for what they are. And this is why the black phase of alchemy, the black phase of transformation, is really in its essence all about bringing these parts to the light of your conscious awareness. So with this reframe, it can completely shift things because the deeper inner work can get a lot less scary when you just realize you're bringing these deeper seated patterns to your conscious awareness so you could see them for what they are, and then you get to start the process of transmuting them. Because if you dissolve them, you're going to dissolve your ego, and then you're going to lose track of everything in life and not know who you are or what you're doing or anything else. But ironically, that leads us to the deepest level of resistance. And this is number 3, the mental prison. Your mind is a prison if you think you are disconnected from source, as well as unconscious of your patterns, of your deeper patterns. And the only way to truly transcend into ultimate freedom is to understand your mind is just naturally limited. But in the deepest parts of your being, you are connected to an infinite, limitless, boundless, timeless essence. And this essence is the core of who you are. If you forgot what this essence is, we'll go back and listen to episode 1. But we can get past the mental prison by getting to know our true essence. And as you do, you can start to identify more with the core of who you are, more than the limited idea of who you are. What does this do? This creates space. And that space allows your essence to shine, to flow freely. So as you start this awakening process, you'll begin to clearly see your mind and all the wild tricks it places on you all the time. And then it just kind of becomes this fun game. Oh, I got lost in the mind and the personality self. Oh, okay. So in the alchemical journey, this is the second phase, the white phase, where you start to purify, to get to know your true essence and awaken the divine potential within you. And then to become limitless is then to continue the alchemical journey, right? Into the red phase of alchemy. And this is where you combine the limited mind along with the timeless, limitless core of who you are, and they come together in sacred union, where your essence, your higher self, is now the captain of the ship, and it's no longer this limited, egoic personality self. And they're working together, not against each other. And this is not to say the ego is bad or at any type of fault. It serves a critical purpose to keep you grounded in the game of life, but it's not meant to be a prison. It is only the mud for a more empowering and limitless locus to blossom or to evolve into. So the alchemist can live in two different worlds. It can live in the infinite, timeless, boundless, energetic essence of the cosmos, as well as the physical personality, self, or ego. And this is just like the cross, which can be a symbol of the fact that you are currently in the intersection of the infinite present moment, also chained by the time-bound rules of this reality. But the more that you can align with your essence, the less resistance you will face in life. And now to come back to what I promised, this is a technique developed by Phil Stutz, and you can find it in the book The Tools by Phil Stutz and Barry Michaels, and it's called The Reversal of Desire. So if you want to go deeper in this, I highly recommend learning from the expert himself and getting the book. But this is a technique you can use anytime, anywhere to face the daily resistance we all face on a daily basis. So it goes like this. You go ahead and see whatever that painful or fearful situation is that you've been thinking about, that thing you've been procrastinating, that hard phone call or hopping in the cold bath, whatever it is. You're going to see that appear in front of you using your imagination as a cloud. And you're going to talk to that cloud. You're going to face that cloud and you're going to yell, "Bring it on," and feel this intense desire for the pain to move you into the cloud. And then you find yourself in the dark cloud, and this is where you can go extreme. Try to feel as much of the pain or as much of the fear as possible. And as you're going through it, you keep moving, and you scream silently, "I love pain." And as you're going through, if you stay in it long enough, as you bring it on and say, "I love pain," well, you'll find that the cloud will spit you out on the other side and close behind you. And then when it does, you say inwardly with conviction, "Pain sets me free." And as you leave the cloud, you feel yourself propelled forward into a realm of pure light. So this is a really powerful practice you can come back to anytime, anywhere. And this is really the secret of how you could turn pain and transmute it into power. So just to give a quick recap of today's main points, we talked about the 3 levels of resistance. We have surface level resistance, we have the deeper seated patterns, and the prison of the mind. And by going into this, by facing this resistance, you'll find that it's your number one ally because it's gonna push you into your potential if you choose to work with it. But now that you've been gifted with the keys to break through, if you take this knowledge and you don't do anything, well, that is on you, and it will have power over you for the rest of your life because you're deciding to be unconscious. So thank you for joining today's journey. I'd love to hear about your experience with resistance. Where do you find yourself butting up head to head with it? Feel free to leave it in the comments below or reach out directly to me on the socials or the emails and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And then also my big ask, if you made it this far and you had a breakthrough insight, you gained a whole new little golden nugget of insight that is going to help you transform your life, and you know somebody else on the path to fulfilling their potential, or somebody else who gets stuck by this force of resistance, please just send the episode to them and help them along the path. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful and golden day.